Third episode, The Escape. The character is Erim Gono, who in his escape meets other actors in the film.
To bring this story into the future, we've joined forces. Angelo with HIS Vision and Sketches, Francesco with HIS Creativity and the Art of the Project, and me, your trusted eye, together with Erim Gono, so we never stop. These gentlemen are the true heavyweights, the ones who made Erim Gono's existence possible. Here are the years they left their mark. Louis Daguerre, 1787-1851. The Frenchman who, in 1839, presented the daguerreotype to the world. Is the one who officially got everything started. William Henry Fox Talbot, 1800-1877, the Englishman who invented the calotype, also around 1839. Unlike Daguerre, he introduced the concept of negative, positive, which is the very soul of film as we know it. John Herschel, 1792-1871, a true genius. He was the one who coined the term photography and discovered fishing, sodium hyposulfite, to stop images from fading in the light. Without him, memories would have lasted only a few minutes. George Eastman, 1854-1932, the man who put photography into everyone's hands. He founded Kodak and, in 1888, introduced the first roll film camera. Is the man who made Erim's journey possible. Starring Lieutenant Columbo, Erim Gono, Agent Greta Dory, Susie, and the incomparable Agent Smith. You must pause every frame if you want to read the text at your own pace.
Holy cow! Where is he? You must never let him out of your sight again, not even when he goes to take a leak. Do you hear me? This isn't just your usual boring tailing request. This commitment must be taken seriously. Things far too important for our very existence are at stake. Lieutenant Colombo thought to himself, the future is under threat. A total shift in thought is at play, and above all, the survival of our species, which seems destined to end or change radically. There are whispers of a new generation being born. Others say they will come from another world to replace us. Will we be swept away? Who knows? It seems our world isn't real, but an invention of the humans. So, boys, let's get to work. Above all, we need to understand why those damn humans are looking for him. They certainly aren't gods, despite what that crazy preacher, the veiled one, whom Gono met, keeps saying. Erim must have had a good laugh at his bullshit. Let's put Greta on his tail. Erim won't be able to resist her charm. She'll have to find out more and report back to me. Got it, Greta? A policeman made a comment to the lieutenant about why he doesn't just arrest Erim Gono to get the information we want. Colombo flew into a rage, replying, Do you know why you're just a patrolman? Because you don't understand a damn thing. Here, we are all wanderers. Humans see us as scraps of celluloid thrown in the trash, or others neatly tucked away in archives or handed to shop customers along with cardstock prints. Get it? They don't know that when we gain consciousness, we enter a time dimension alternative to theirs, and they can no longer see us. But we are right there among them, amidst their own things. Humans aren't looking for Erim Gono. They're looking for a 3-frame strip of celluloid because it's gone missing. Get it? And as for Erim, he's no criminal. In fact, according to the rumors of those who've met him, he's a guy with guts, a lover of reason and freedom. Passing by a bar and noticing a beautiful girl sitting there, Erim got distracted, tripped, and nearly fell on her. The girl shouted,
Hey!
Be careful.
I'm so sorry. I got distracted looking at you. Can I make it up to you by offering you a drink? Perhaps you'll allow me to sit down if you're not waiting for anyone.
Actually, I'm waiting for a friend, but please, take a seat. My friend will die of curiosity seeing a young man sitting with me, but you'll have to explain why you got distracted.
Gono sat down just as the friend arrived and introduced himself. Azur, I'm Erim Gono. It was your beauty that distracted me. It's hard to find such well-developed film around these days. After the pleasantries with the friend, Susie then quickly hit it off with open, mutual likability. Erim began to talk about himself, thinking he might find support for his needs as a newcomer to a wonderful city like Lisbotia. Amidst their mutual confidences, as if they were long-time friends, Greta excused herself from the pleasant company, claiming she needed to go to the restroom, but it was actually an excuse for other rhymes.
Hi, sorry, I'll be right back.
After leaving Susie with Erim using the bathroom excuse, Greta went to Lieutenant Colombo. With Susie's help, she had managed to gain his confidence, not just as Agent Greta, but through the charm irradiated. Admiring the man, she wanted to know more, also because she felt drawn to the wonderful things he said, dazzled by a man who was wanted. Greta on the phone with the lieutenant.
Colombo. You know why the humans are looking for Erim Gono? The client claims the lost film contains an image she considers more important than her own life. She wants it back at any cost and is willing to pay any price.
Having learned about the contact with Erim, Colombo planned the next move, a direct meeting to clarify what he already suspected. Lieutenant on the phone. Is that you, Greta? Okay, tell me everything, and if you can, set up a meeting with Erim.
We met at the dock, not far from the April 25 bridge. Erim and I walked along the canal, chatting amiably, while the soldiers stung our faces. The lieutenant broke the ice, saying, "You know everyone is looking for you, Gono?" I said, pulling my old raincoat tighter. I wonder why. I don't see any infractions on your record. In fact, people speak very highly of you. What did you do to draw all this attention?
Erim gave a bitter smile. Well, Lieutenant, what do you think happens when you end up in the routine of the first print in a photo lab and a customer complains saying, "There are 3 photos missing"?
I stopped for a moment, thinking. Then I said, I think the photographer started checking the numbers printed on the edge of the roll. He must have seen the jump between frames, put 2 and 2 together, and started searching. But tell me one thing, what is so important about those 3 frames? Erin looked at him sideways. Forgive me, Colombo, but are you trying to get into my private life? It seems like a rather indiscreet question.
You're right, forgive me. I didn't mean to be intrusive. It's the job that gets me my houses to understand what's cooking on behalf of those at the Photographic Material Production Palace.
To avoid a long walk, he took the metro at one of the nicest stops on the Lisboa line.
It seems you've discovered something so hot it motivated an escape from that possible charge. The arcade. Let's start with the last thing, parades. Erim countered. I'll talk about it because I have nothing to hide. Certain things are right in front of everyone's eyes. You just have to know how to look. The archive is nothing but a tomb for film. Closed boxes that will turn to dust over time.
When I was still in the role, stored in warehouses, I spent my time studying and listening to the conversations of those who moved between the warehouses. They said that the factories were closing, like the microfilm ones. He stopped and pointed to an invisible spot. I'm talking about those rolls of film that photographed blueprints, machine layouts, or newspaper pages to save space. A reel contained thousands of documents, ready to be read on a screen. I'll show you, Lieutenant, if your memory serves you right. The same thing happened with film reels. Columbus sighed, muttering, and shaking his head said, "That's why I see fewer and fewer films around. It scares me. I'll have to look into it." Erim concluded, over the lieutenant's muttering, thinking, limited productions, rare, for true enthusiasts. Few, but they're still around. The question is, for how long? At the precinct, Columbo turns to Agent Smith. "Smith, go to headquarters immediately. Contact the industrial districts. Erim says production has dropped by 90%. I want to know if he's telling the truth. Call the big shots, Kodak in Rochester, Fujifilm in Tokyo, Ilford in England. Check the records for the last 20 years. Is anyone still producing that microfilm, or has it all ended up in a grave of dust? If the factory's closed, I want to know who bought the machinery. Something's haunting me, Smith. A woman crying over 3 missing frames. Why? A family secret? Or something that wasn't meant to be seen? Find the name in the records of the workshop where the frames disappeared. Track down and talk to the customer's friends. Buy them a coffee. Talk about the weather." Microspia? Forget it. It's rude to listen to other people's secrets. Besides, if you plan a microspia, you only hear what she says. If you look him in the eye while scratching your head, you can see what he's thinking. I prefer the traditional method. One question too many just as I'm about to leave. After investigating the world's most powerful factories, Agent Smith arrived in London for his final assignment. He prepared to call Columbo. "Hello, Lieutenant Columbo. It's Smith. I've finished the investigation. I'm in England, just left the site where the Ilford factory used to be. You'll read it in the report. I'm heading back to Lisbosha, but first, I'll stop by the shop Erim escaped from and then try to track down the friends of the client who started this whole 3 missing frames business. See you soon, Lieutenant, unless you have any updates for me." After traveling to investigate following the lieutenant's orders, Smith finally managed to track down the friends of the client from the Photoshop Erim fled. They were sitting in a bar right near the shop, and Smith introduced himself. The women invited him to the table, catching on to the situation immediately.
"Look, Agent Smith, I'll be honest. Enough with this story of the missing photos. We were in the shop that day and I have to tell you the truth. The lady is a bit high-strung, paranoid. Link appunto and a bit of a hussy, if we're being honest. It's obvious. Those photos taken of her lover Gina were in positions, well, unrepeatable. And since Gina left her for another woman, that psychopath needs to stop bothering people. She needs to drop it. Period."
The agent reported to Columbo, "Lieutenant, here's the report. The transcript of the meeting with the friends is missing. It was just idle gossip, but I'll give you my version. I think Erim was shocked because he was in the first frames of the roll. For the first time, he was hit by the light of the human world. He ran away out of fear, keeping that vision to himself like a miracle." Lieutenant Columbo, interrupting him, "Stop talking nonsense, Smith. Since when did you become a psychologist?" Lieutenant Columbo and his wife were looking out at the city on a full moon night from the terrace of the large building where they lived. Columbo, distressed and a bit sad, confided in Dory. "I read Agent Smith's report today on the investigation I assigned him. You know, dear, I feel like a wreck. What Erim Gono told me has been confirmed, and without him, we would have gone on without realizing the radical changes. We film strips, sweet wife. We are the last of a generation that will not be renewed. Memories for cameras as big as one of my 6x6 frames and barely more than 2 millimeters thick are already in production and in use. These gadgets can hold thousands of high-definition photographs. Do you understand? Photographic material factories gone or reduced to 5% production, and surplus materials turned to ash. I love you, and I'm proud to feel like one of the last ones with you. Now I understand how Native Americans felt when they were being exterminated, driven from their lands. When we are gone, our images will follow us forever in our thoughts. But for now, let's carry on peacefully, without resentment for the newcomers. The lieutenant reflects on a new meeting with Erim, having had the honor of knowing him personally. Columbo is convinced he knows all the whys. But it's better if Greta is there too. They've become very good friends now. So they met in the sacristy, where a magnificent 150 square meters painting loomed on the ceiling. Created by Antonio Sapero in 1703, a work that survived the Lisbon earthquake of 1755. A similar thing happened to Leonardo da Vinci, with his Last Supper mural remaining unharmed despite the bombings of World War II. Together, these artists introduced perspective into the art of painting and drawing.